ഹായ് എവരി വൺ. ഇന്ന് നമ്മൾ നെറ്റിൻ്റെ ഒരു റിവിഷൻ പോലെ ഒക്ടോബർ 13 എക്സാമുള്ള ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ജസ്റ്റ് ഒരു റിവിഷൻ പോലെ നമ്മൾ ഒരു ക്ലാസ് സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യുകയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അതിൽ ഫസ്റ്റായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഓൾഡ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പീരീഡിലെ കുറച്ച് ഭാഗങ്ങളാണ് നോക്കുന്നത്. ഓൾഡ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പീരീഡ്. ആംഗ്ലോ സാക്സൺസ് എക്സ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ്ഡ് 5 കിങ്ഡംസ് ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലണ്ട്. ഏതൊക്കെയാണ്? ആംഗ്ലോ സാക്സൺസ് എക്സ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ്ഡ് 5 കിങ്ഡംസ് ഇൻ ഇംഗ്ലണ്ട്. നോർത്തംബ്രിയ, മെർസിയ, ഈസ്റ്റ് ആംഗ്ലിയ, വെസക്സ് ആൻഡ് കെന്റ്. 4 dialects in England: Northumbria, Mercian, Kentish and West Saxon. An important incident is Vikings attack. The language of the Anglo-Saxon period is called Old English. The language of the Anglo-Saxon period is called Old English. Because the Old English language comes from the language of Germanic tribes, Angles, Saxons and Jutes, therefore most of the words of Old English language are Germanic. Why most of the words of Old English language are Germanic? Because the Old English language came from the language of Germanic tribes, Angles, Saxons and Jutes. Therefore most of the words of Old English language are Germanic. Now we are going to discuss about Anglo-Saxon literature. What about Anglo-Saxon literature? Anglo-Saxon literature incorporates prose, poetry, puzzles, maxims and countless wisdom epigrams. It's an amalgamations of pagan concepts about soul and nature, and also Christian conversions and moral values. Heroic poems were very famous in Old English poetry. In Old English poetry, heroic poems were very famous. The subject matter of these poems was taken not only from Bible but also from pagan sources. These poems have subject matter from pagan sources, not only from Bible but also from pagan sources. The poems like Battle of Maldon and the Battle of Brunanburg depict the various battles of that time. One of the most important work, the most notable work in this time is Beowulf. Beowulf have more than 3,000 verses. Most of its subject matter is religious and allegoric in nature, which is taken from the Bible, epics and Homer's Odyssey. Important, the most of the subject matter is religious. Beowulf's most of the subject matter is religious and allegorical in nature, which is taken from Bible, epics and Homer's Odyssey. The poem worships a hero and the principles of courage and kindness. In the poem Beowulf, it worships a hero and the principles of courage and kindness. In the Beowulf poem, we can see combination of Christian and pagan elements. There is the combination of Christian and pagan elements in the poem Beowulf. If we talk about Christian elements, then the story of the Beowulf poem is based on the Christian concepts of sacrifice. When we talk about the Christian elements in the poem Beowulf, then the story of the Beowulf poem is based on the Christian concept of sacrifice. Beowulf is a courageous and high-minded hero who fights for his people and at the end lost his life. Beowulf is a courageous and high-minded hero who fights for his people and at the end he loses his life. At the end of the poem, the hero Beowulf lost his life. He is courageous and a high-minded hero. Okay, then if we talk about pagan elements, then the swords of Beowulf's name was hunting, depicted with symbols. The sword has warrior-like qualities and all these specify a pagan attitude with respect to the sword. If we talk about pagan elements, then the sword of Beowulf was named as hunting, depicted with symbols. This sword has warrior-like qualities, and all these specify a pagan attitude with respect to the sword. Anglo-Saxon poets. What about Anglo-Saxon poets? Anglo-Saxon poets Cadman and Snulf, two principal Anglo-Saxon poets. Two principal Anglo-Saxon poets are Cadman and Sinwolf. It is assumed that Cadman wrote poems like Exodus, Daniel, and Judith, etc. Cadman wrote poems like Exodus, Daniel, and Judith, etc. Sinwolf is considered as the author of the Phoenix, the Dream of the Road Christ, etc. Sinwolf is considered as the author of Phoenix, the Phoenix, the Dream of the Road, and Christ, etc. Talking of a difference between the poetry of Cadman and Sinwolf, Cadman used to take his materials from Old Testament of the Bible, and Sinwolf took his materials from the New Testament of the Bible. When we talk about the difference between the poetry of Cadman and Sinwolf, there is a notable difference. That is, Cadman used to take his materials from Old Testament of the Bible, and Sinwolf took his materials from the New Testament of Bible. Anglo-Saxon prose. Anglo-Saxon prose mostly includes historical and ecclesiastical writings. Anglo-Saxon prose mostly includes historical and ecclesiastic writings. That's all about the Old English period.